Zara woke up that morning feeling like the happiest woman in the whole world. The sun was shining through her bedroom window in Lagos, and she could hear the sound of people preparing things outside. Today was her wedding day. She had been waiting for this day for 2 years. Her heart was beating fast with joy and excitement. She put on her white silk robe and walked to the mirror. Her face was glowing. She smiled at herself and thought about Jamal, the man she loved so much. Zara was a successful lawyer at one of the biggest law firms in Lagos. She was smart, beautiful, and came from a very rich family. Her father owned many buildings and businesses all over Nigeria. Her mother had passed away 5 years ago, but Zara knew her mother was watching from heaven and would be happy for her today. Zara had everything a woman could want, but she felt like something was missing in her life until she met Jamal. Jamal came into her life 2 years ago at a business party. He was tall, handsome, and had a smile that made her feel weak. He was charming and always knew the right things to say. He told her that he was a successful businessman from Ghana who wanted to expand his business into Nigeria. He said he was looking for smart partners who understood the Nigerian market. But when he saw Zara, he said everything changed for him. He told her that he had never seen anyone so beautiful and intelligent. Zara believed him. She fell in love with him quickly. Jamal was perfect. He brought her flowers every week. He took her to expensive restaurants. He introduced her to his friends and family. He met her father and they seemed to get along well. He even asked her father for permission to marry her, like a real gentleman. When he proposed to her, he used her late mother's diamond ring that her father had given her years ago. He must have talked to her father about it. She cried tears of joy when he put that ring on her finger. Everything felt like a dream come true. Now, on this special morning, Zara put on her beautiful white wedding dress. Her younger sister Nia helped her with her hair and makeup. Her bridesmaids were running around the house, laughing and taking pictures. Everyone was so happy. Zara's father kept coming into the room to tell her how beautiful she looked. He hugged her and told her that her mother would have been so proud. Zara felt complete. Her life was finally perfect. By late afternoon, Zara was ready to go to the wedding venue. The venue was a large, beautiful estate outside of Lagos. It had green gardens with flowers everywhere, white chairs set up in rows, and big white tents for the reception. The owner of the estate was a friend of Zara's father. Hundreds of people had been invited. Rich businesspeople, lawyers, politicians, and friends from all over Nigeria and Ghana were coming to celebrate this marriage. Zara arrived at the venue with her father at around 5 o'clock in the evening. She was still wearing her regular clothes because she would change into her wedding dress later in the preparation tent. Her father went to meet some guests, and Zara decided to walk around the venue to see the decorations. She wanted to make sure everything was perfect for her big day. As she walked through the gardens toward the preparation tent, Zara took a small path that went behind the main tents. She was looking at the beautiful flowers and the lights hanging from the trees when she heard voices coming from one of the tents. She recognized one voice immediately. It was Jamal. He was talking to someone on his phone. At first, Zara thought she would just say hello to him, but something made her stop. She heard him laughing loudly. Yes, everything is going exactly as I planned," Jamal said in his deep voice. Zara felt strange hearing this. She moved closer to the tent, staying hidden behind a large palm tree. Through the open side of the tent, she could see Jamal sitting on a chair. He looked relaxed and happy. Too happy for someone who was about to get married. He seemed like he was celebrating something. No, she does not know anything," Jamal continued. "She is so stupid and so blind. All she sees is my handsome face and my sweet words. She thinks I love her. She thinks we are going to have a beautiful life together." He laughed again, a cruel laugh that Zara had never heard before. It was not the laugh she loved. It was the laugh of someone doing something bad. Zara felt cold even though the evening was warm. She wanted to walk away but she could not move. She had to know what he was saying. She had to hear more. "Her family owns so much money and so much land," Jamal said. "Buildings everywhere in Lagos. Businesses in every sector. When I marry her, I will have access to everything. Her father trusts me now. He thinks I am a good man who will take care of his daughter. He has no idea what I am planning. Once I marry her and she signs the papers to put me on her business accounts, I will start moving money and selling the properties. By the time anyone understands what is happening, I will already have billions of naira and I will be long gone." Zara's hands started shaking. Her legs felt weak. She grabbed onto the palm tree to stay standing. This could not be real. This could not be happening on her wedding day. "I have done this before," Jamal said proudly. "There was a woman in Accra. There was another woman in Abuja. Both of them were from rich families. Both of them fell in love with me. Both of them had no idea that I was using them. I took what I needed from them and I left. Nobody could do anything to stop me because they were too ashamed to tell anyone. This time will be the same, but this time the money will be even bigger because Zara's family is richer than the others." Zara covered her mouth with her hand so she would not cry out loud. She felt like her heart was breaking into 1,000 pieces. Everything she believed was a lie. Jamal did not love her. He had never loved her. He had planned this whole thing from the beginning. Every flower he brought her was fake. Every kiss was fake. Every word of love was fake. He was a criminal who was planning to steal from her family. She stood there behind the tree, listening as Jamal continued to talk about his plans. She listened as he described how he would move money to different banks, how he would sell her family's most valuable properties to his friends at low prices, and how he would disappear to another country. He was evil. He was a thief and a liar. Zara felt anger growing inside her along with the sadness. But she was also a lawyer. She was smart. And in that moment, even though her heart was breaking, her mind started to work. She started to think about what she could do. She started to plan. Zara's hands were still shaking when she ran back to the preparation tent. Her mind was moving very fast. She had only a few hours to figure out what to do. She could not just cancel the wedding. Too many people were already at the venue. Her father would want to know why. If she told him what she heard, he would be angry and hurt. The wedding would become a big scandal. Her family's name would be damaged. But Zara could not marry Jamal knowing the truth. She needed to think smart. When Zara got to her dressing room, her younger sister Nia was there putting flowers in her hair. Nia was only 24 years old and worked as a teacher, but she was very smart and brave. Zara looked at her sister and knew she had to tell her everything. She closed the door and locked it. She told Nia that she needed to talk about something very serious. Nia could see that something was very wrong with her sister. Zara's face was pale and her eyes were red. Zara sat down on the bed and told Nia everything she had heard. She repeated all of Jamal's words. She told Nia about the women in Accra and Abuja. She told her about the plan to steal their father's money and properties. As Zara was speaking, Nia's face became angry and shocked. "We have to tell Daddy right now," Nia said loudly. But Zara stopped her. She explained that they needed to be careful and smart. If they told their father now, Jamal would deny everything. He would say that Zara had misunderstood what he said. He would say she was making it up. It would be just her word against his word. But Zara had an idea. She needed proof. Real proof that nobody could deny. Zara told Nia to bring her phone. She needed to call someone she could trust. That person was Tund, her lawyer colleague at work. Tund was a smart man who was very good at helping people in difficult situations. He was also a good friend who kept secrets. Nia made the call and told Tund that Zara needed to talk to him right away at the wedding venue. It was very urgent. 30 minutes later, Tund arrived at the preparation tent. He was dressed in a nice suit and looked confused about why Zara had called him on her wedding day. Zara told him to sit down and she told him everything. She told him about Jamal's phone call. She told him about the plan to steal from her family. She told him about the other women in Accra and Abuja. Tund listened carefully without interrupting. When Zara finished talking, Tund was very serious. He said that what Jamal was planning was a serious crime. It was fraud and theft and money laundering. But Tund also said something important. He said that they could use this situation to protect Zara and her family, but they had to move very carefully and very quickly. They had to gather evidence. They had to prove everything Jamal had said. Tund asked Zara if she had a recording of Jamal's phone call. Zara said no, but she said that Jamal might call the same person again. Tund told her that they could record any conversation that Jamal had if they had special equipment. He knew someone who worked in security and could help them. This person could give Zara a small recording device that she could wear. The device was so small that nobody would see it. If Jamal said anything else before the wedding, they would have it recorded. Nia asked another important question. She asked what would happen to their father's money and properties. Tund explained that they needed to protect those assets immediately. He said that Zara's father needed to move all of the family's most important properties into something called a protective trust. A trust was a legal way to protect money and property so that nobody could take it or sell it without permission from a judge and the family members. If the family did this today, then Jamal could never touch any of the properties even if he became Zara's husband. Zara called her father and asked him to come to her dressing room right away. She told him it was about something very important and private. Her father came quickly, looking worried. He thought something was wrong with Zara's health or the wedding preparations. Zara took a deep breath and told him everything that she had heard. She told him about Jamal's plan. She told him about the other women. She told him that Jamal was a criminal. For a long moment, Zara's father did not say anything. His face became very dark and angry. Then he became very sad. He had trusted Jamal. He had believed that Jamal was a good man who would take care of his daughter. He had introduced Jamal to his business friends. He had helped Jamal understand the Nigerian business world. And all this time Jamal had been planning to steal from him. Zara's father was a smart businessman. He did not waste time being angry. He immediately called his own lawyer, who was the best lawyer in Lagos. The lawyer came to the venue very quickly. Zara's father explained the situation to the lawyer. The lawyer worked very fast. Within 2 hours he had moved all of the family's most valuable properties into protective trusts. These trusts were in the names of Zara and Nia, with their father as the trustee. Even if Jamal married Zara and tried to take control of her money and properties, he could not do it. The law would not allow him. While the lawyer was doing this work, Tun was doing something else. He was calling people he knew who worked as investigators. He asked them to find out everything about Jamal. He wanted to know if Jamal had really done this before. He wanted proof. The investigators worked very fast. By the time the evening was coming, they had found records of 2 women in Ghana who had married men matching Jamal's description and who had later discovered that their family's money and properties were missing. One woman, named Amma, had gotten married and 6 months later discovered that her new husband had sold her family's business to his friends at a very low price. The money had disappeared. Amma had wanted to report him to police, but she was too ashamed. She did not want people to know that she had been so stupid and so blind. The second woman, named Akojua, had the same story. She had discovered too late that the man she married was not even his real name. Tund also found that Jamal had at least 5 different names that he had used in different countries. His real name was not even Jamal. He was a criminal who had stolen millions of naira from families across West Africa. By the time evening had come, Zara and her family had a complete plan. They had protected their money and properties. They had proof of Jamal's crimes. They had evidence from other women he had hurt. And now they had a small recording device that Zara would wear during the wedding ceremony. Zara looked at herself in the mirror. She was still wearing her beautiful white wedding dress. She looked beautiful, but her eyes were different now. Her eyes were strong. She was no longer a happy bride thinking about love. She was a lawyer thinking about justice. She was ready to trap the man who had tried to trick her. She was ready to expose him in front of everyone. The sun was setting over the Lagos estate as the time for the ceremony finally arrived. The sky was painted in colors of orange and pink and gold. 600 guests were sitting in white chairs arranged in neat rows. They were all dressed in their finest clothes. The women wore colorful Nigerian wrappers and beautiful jewelry. The men wore expensive suits and traditional dashikis. Everyone was talking and laughing and excited about the wedding that was about to begin. The traditional drummers started playing their drums. The sound was loud and beautiful. It filled the air with the rhythm of Nigeria. The guests became quiet and turned to look toward the back of the garden. The wedding was starting. Zara stood at the entrance to the garden with her father. She was wearing a stunning white wedding dress made of the finest silk and lace. The dress had been specially made in Lagos by the best designer. It had long sleeves decorated with tiny pearls and crystals that sparkled in the fading sunlight. On her head, she wore a beautiful white veil that fell all the way down her back. Around her neck, she wore her mother's pearl necklace. She looked like a princess. She looked like every young girl's dream of a perfect bride. But under her dress, hidden where nobody could see it, Zara was wearing a small recording device. It was attached to her skin near her heart. The device was so tiny that even if someone hugged her, they would not feel it. This small machine was connected by a thin wire to a microphone that was hidden in her bouquet of white flowers. Tund was standing near the guests with a small receiver in his pocket that was recording everything the device picked up. Zara's father looked at his daughter and smiled. He did not know what she was feeling inside. She looked so happy and so beautiful. Her father was proud of his daughter. He did not know that his daughter was about to do something very brave and very dangerous. He did not know that she was walking toward a man who wanted to steal everything from their family. The music changed. It became slower and more romantic. Everyone stood up. Zara took her father's arm and they started walking down the aisle. All the guests turned to look at her. They whispered to each other about how beautiful she looked. Some of the women had tears in their eyes because the bride looked so perfect. Zara walked slowly down the aisle. Her heart was beating very fast. But her face showed no fear. She smiled and looked calm. She looked like a happy bride. Nobody could see the strength and determination hiding underneath her beautiful smile. She was acting. She was playing a role. At the front of the garden, standing under a beautiful white arch covered with flowers, Jamal was waiting. He was wearing a white suit that fit him perfectly. He had a white flower in his pocket. He looked handsome and confident. He was smiling the smile that had made Zara fall in love with him. But now she knew that smile was fake. Everything about him was fake. Zara's father gave her hand to Jamal. The priest began to speak. He talked about love and marriage and commitment. He talked about how marriage was a sacred thing. He talked about how two people were becoming one. Jamal stood very still, listening to every word. He looked calm and happy. He looked like a man in love. Then it was time for the vows. The priest asked Zara to speak first. Zara looked into Jamal's eyes. She took a deep breath. She began to speak the words that she and the priest had prepared. "I, Zara, take you, Jamal, to be my husband," she said in a clear voice that everyone could hear. Her voice was strong and steady. "I promise to love you and to respect you. I promise to be honest with you and to trust you. I promise to stand by you in good times and in bad times. I promise to give you my love and my loyalty for the rest of my life." As she spoke these words, Zara felt pain in her heart. Every word was a lie. She did not want to give her love and loyalty to this man. She did not want to stand by him. She wanted to scream and run away. But she stayed calm. She kept speaking. She finished her vows and stepped back. Now it was Jamal's turn. He took her hand and looked into her eyes. He had the most honest expression on his face. He looked like he was about to speak the most important words of his life. "I, Jamal, take you, Zara, to be my wife," he said in a smooth voice. "I promise to love you with all my heart. I promise to care for you and protect you. I promise to be faithful to you and to value you above all things. I promise to work hard to make you happy. I promise to share my life with you completely. I love you, Zara, and I will love you forever." The guests applauded. Many of them had tears in their eyes. They thought it was so romantic. They did not know that every word Jamal spoke was a lie. The small recording device hidden in Zara's dress was recording every lie. The priest asked for the rings. Zara's father came forward with the wedding rings. They were beautiful gold rings with diamonds. The priest blessed the rings. Jamal took Zara's ring and slowly put it on her finger. He held her hand and looked into her eyes. "With this ring I thee wed," he said softly. His voice sounded so loving and so sincere. Zara felt anger rise in her chest, but she kept smiling. She took his ring and put it on his finger. "With this ring I thee wed," she repeated. Her voice was calm and beautiful. The priest raised his hands and blessed them. "I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride," he announced. Jamal leaned forward and kissed Zara on the lips. The guests cheered and clapped loudly. People stood up and threw flower petals into the air. The drummers started playing their drums again, louder and faster than before. The music was happy and celebratory. But Zara felt nothing as Jamal kissed her. She felt only coldness and determination. She was no longer a bride in love. She was a woman with a purpose. She was a woman who was about to take her revenge through justice. They turned to face the guests as husband and wife. Jamal was smiling with confidence. He thought he had won. He thought his plan was working perfectly. He had no idea that everything was being recorded. He had no idea that his crimes were being documented. He had no idea that in just a few hours his life would fall apart. Zara and Jamal walked back up the aisle together, holding hands. Zara looked calm and happy on the outside. But inside she was ready for what was coming next. She was ready for the reception. She was ready for the moment when everything would change. She was ready to expose him in front of everyone he thought he had impressed. The guests followed them to the reception area where long tables were set up with food and drinks. The party was about to begin. But Zara knew that this party would end in a way that nobody expected. This would not be a normal wedding reception. This would be the day when Jamal's crimes were revealed to the world. The reception was in full celebration when the time came. Long tables were filled with delicious Nigerian food. There was jollof rice, grilled chicken, fresh fish, and many different soups. Bottles of expensive champagne and wine were everywhere. A live band was playing music in the corner. Guests were eating and drinking and dancing. Everyone was happy. Everyone was celebrating the marriage of Zara and Jamal. Jamal sat at the head table next to Zara. He was eating and drinking and talking to important guests around him. He kept touching Zara's hand and smiling at her. He was acting like the happiest man in the world. He kept saying things like, "I am so lucky to have married such a beautiful and rich woman, and my life is perfect now." Every time he said these things, Zara wanted to scream. But she stayed calm. She ate her food. She smiled. She waited. Tund was standing near the side of the reception area. He had finished recording everything from the ceremony. The small device hidden under Zara's dress had picked up every word that Jamal said. Tund had all the proof they needed. He gave Zara a small signal by touching his ear. This was the sign that everything was ready. Everything was recorded. After about 1 hour of eating and celebration, Zara's father stood up from his chair. He was an important businessman and a respected man. When he stood up, people noticed. The band stopped playing. Conversations became quiet. People turned to look at him. Zara's father walked to the microphone. His face was very serious. He looked angry and sad at the same time. Everyone could feel that something important was about to happen. The happy celebration suddenly became tense. "I need everyone to listen carefully," Zara's father said into the microphone. His voice was loud and strong. "I have something very serious to tell you all. This is not easy for me to say on this day, but the truth is more important than anything else." People started whispering to each other. What was he talking about? Why did he look so angry? Some guests were confused. Others started to suspect that something was very wrong. "The man who just married my daughter is not who he claims to be," Zara's father continued. "His name is not really Jamal. He is a criminal. He has stolen from many families across West Africa. Today I am going to show you the proof." Jamal's face turned pale. He stood up from his chair quickly. "What is this?" he shouted. "What are you doing? This is crazy. I love your daughter." But nobody was listening to Jamal anymore. 2 large screens had been set up on both sides of the reception area. The screens suddenly came to life with pictures and documents. On the screens, people could see records of Jamal's real name. They could see his photograph from different countries where he had committed crimes. They could see bank records showing money that had been stolen. They could see pictures of the 2 women in Ghana and other women in different countries who had been his victims. The screens showed documents from the police in different countries. The screens showed court records of cases against men matching Jamal's description. Each document told a story of a rich woman who had married a handsome stranger, only to discover months later that her family's money had disappeared. The guests gasped. Some people covered their mouths in shock. They could not believe what they were seeing. They were looking at proof that the groom was a criminal. They were looking at proof that he had done this many times before. Jamal tried to run away. He pushed his chair back and started walking quickly toward the exit. But Zara's father had planned for this. 2 large security guards blocked the exit. They were standing with their arms crossed, not letting anyone leave. "Sit down," Zara's father said to Jamal in a cold voice. "You are not going anywhere." Jamal was trapped. He sat back down in his chair. His hands were shaking. His face was sweating. The confident smile was gone. He looked like a scared animal that had been caught. Now Zara stood up from her chair. She walked to the microphone. Everyone's eyes turned to her. She looked beautiful and calm. She looked strong and brave. "I am the one who discovered the truth," Zara said into the microphone. Her voice was clear and steady. "Today, just a few hours before this wedding, I heard Jamal on the phone telling someone about his plan. He told them that he was going to steal my family's money and properties. He told them that he had done this before to other women. He told them that I was stupid and blind." The guests listened carefully. Some of them looked at Jamal with anger in their eyes. Some of them looked at Zara with admiration. "I am a lawyer," Zara continued. "I know how to protect myself and my family. So instead of running away or canceling this wedding and making a big scandal, I made a plan. I recorded everything that Jamal said before the ceremony. I have all of his words on tape. I have proof of every crime he has committed." Zara held up her phone. "I have also already filed for an annulment of this marriage based on fraud and deception. This marriage is not legal. It is not real. A marriage built on lies and crime cannot be a real marriage." She paused and looked directly at Jamal. "And now I want to play the recording so that everyone can hear what this man really thinks and what he really planned to do." Tund came forward with a speaker and a recording device. He connected it to the microphone system. Then he pressed play. Suddenly, the entire reception area was filled with Jamal's voice. It was the recording from earlier that day when Jamal had been talking on the phone. His voice was clear and loud. Everyone could hear him laughing as he talked about stealing from Zara. Everyone could hear him talking about the other women. Everyone could hear him saying that Zara was stupid and blind. As the recording played, Jamal put his head in his hands. He looked like he wanted to disappear. The guests looked at him with disgust and anger. Some people were shaking their heads. Some people were recording the recording on their phones. This scandal would spread across all of Lagos and beyond. When the recording finished, there was complete silence in the reception area. Nobody was eating or drinking anymore. Nobody was smiling. The celebration had turned into something very different. Zara's father stood up again and spoke into the microphone. "I have called the police. They are on their way here. This man will be arrested for fraud, theft, and money laundering." At that exact moment, sirens could be heard outside. Police cars were arriving at the reception venue. Police officers came into the reception area and walked directly to Jamal. They told him to stand up. They told him he was under arrest. They put handcuffs on his wrists. Jamal tried to protest. He tried to say that this was all a misunderstanding. But nobody believed him anymore. The police led him away. He was put into a police car. The car drove away from the wedding reception. Zara watched him disappear. She felt sad, but she also felt strong. She had taken back her power. She had protected her family. She had gotten justice. The guests started talking to each other again. Many of them came to Zara to congratulate her for being so brave and so smart. Her father hugged her tightly. Even though the wedding had ended in a terrible way, Zara felt like she had won something much more important than a marriage. 3 months after the wedding disaster, Zara sat in a courtroom in Lagos. It was the day of Jamal's trial. The courtroom was filled with people. Journalists were sitting in the back, ready to write about the case. Police officers were standing near the doors. Zara's family was sitting behind her, supporting her. The judge sat high above everyone else, looking very serious. Jamal stood in front of the judge in handcuffs. He looked very different now. He was thin and sad. His hair was not styled nicely anymore. He was not smiling. His expensive clothes were gone. He was wearing a simple prison uniform. He looked like a broken man. The prosecutor stood up and presented all the evidence. She showed the court the recordings of Jamal's confession. She showed the court the documents proving his crimes. She showed the court the bank records showing the money he had stolen. She showed the court the statements from the other women he had hurt. One by one, women from Ghana and other countries came to the courtroom to tell their stories. They talked about how Jamal had tricked them. They talked about how he had stolen from them. They talked about how he had hurt them so deeply. The judge listened to everything very carefully. He looked at all the evidence. He read through all the documents. He listened to all the women tell their stories. After 3 days of trial, the judge made his decision. "This man has committed serious crimes," the judge said in a loud voice. "He has defrauded multiple women across several countries. He has stolen millions of naira from innocent families. He has used dishonesty and manipulation to hurt people. Therefore, this court sentences you to 5 years in prison." The courtroom became very quiet. 5 years was a long time. Jamal put his head down. He knew he deserved the punishment. The judge continued. "You are also ordered to pay restitution to all of your victims. You will pay back every naira that you stole. You will work while in prison to earn money to pay these women back. It will take you many years, but you will pay for what you have done." Zara felt tears come to her eyes, but they were not tears of sadness. They were tears of relief. She felt like a weight had been lifted from her heart. Justice had been done. The man who had tried to hurt her and her family was going to prison. He was going to face the consequences of his actions. 2 weeks after the trial ended, Zara called a big meeting in Lagos. She invited journalists and business people and lawyers and social workers. She stood in front of all these important people and announced something new. "I have decided to start a foundation called Zara's Justice," she said. Her voice was strong and confident. "This foundation will help women who have been victims of romantic fraud. Many women like me have fallen in love with men who were only interested in stealing from them. These women feel ashamed. They feel stupid. They hide their pain because they do not want anyone to know what happened to them. But I want to tell them that they are not stupid. They are brave. They loved someone. They opened their hearts. That is not stupid. That is beautiful." She paused and looked at all the faces in the room. "My foundation will provide free legal help to these women. We will help them protect their money and their properties. We will help them understand their legal rights. We will help them go to court if they need to. We will help them get justice. Most importantly, we will help them understand that what happened was not their fault." The foundation grew very quickly. Women from all over Nigeria came to ask for help. Some women were in relationships with men who seemed suspicious. Some women had already been tricked and lost their money. Zara and her team of lawyers helped all of them. They taught women about the warning signs of romantic fraud. They taught them how to protect their finances. They taught them how to check a man's background before trusting him with their money. The story of Zara and what she had done spread across Africa. Newspapers in Kenya and South Africa wrote about her. Radio stations in Ghana and Cameroon talked about her foundation. Young women across Africa started to see Zara as a hero. She became famous not just because of the wedding scandal, but because of the good work she was doing to help other women. 1 year after her failed wedding, Zara was invited to speak at a big conference in Accra, Ghana. Important businesspeople and leaders from all over Africa were attending. Zara stood on a stage and told her story. She talked about the pain she had felt when she discovered the truth. She talked about how she had used her intelligence to protect herself and her family. She talked about her foundation and all the women she had helped. After her speech, many people came to talk to her. Some were journalists who wanted to interview her. Some were business people who wanted to help her foundation. But one person stood out. His name was Ade. He was a successful businessman from Nigeria who owned a chain of restaurants. He had heard Zara speak and he was impressed by her intelligence and her strength. Ade approached Zara after her speech. "You are amazing," he said. He was not just flattering her. He meant what he said. "What you have done for so many women is incredible. I respect you very much." At first, Zara was nervous. After what had happened with Jamal, she was afraid to trust men. But something was different about Ade. He did not come with sweet words and expensive gifts. He did not try to impress her with stories about himself. He asked her about her work. He asked her about her dreams. He listened carefully to every word she said. Over the next few months, Ade and Zara spent time together. They went to restaurants and movies. They talked for hours about life and love and their dreams for the future. Ade never rushed her. He did not pressure her. He was patient and kind. He respected her intelligence. He admired her strength. And slowly Zara began to trust him. 1 year after she met Ade, he took her to a beautiful garden in Lagos where the sun was setting. The sky was painted in colors of orange and pink. Ade got down on one knee and asked Zara to marry him. But this time was different from the first time. This time Zara was sure about his love. This time she knew he wanted to marry her for who she was, not for what he could steal from her. "Yes," Zara said. "Yes, I will marry you." They got married 6 months later. The wedding was smaller and more intimate than the first wedding. Only close family and friends were invited. There were no journalists waiting to expose a scandal. There was only genuine love and happiness. Zara wore a beautiful white dress again, but this time she smiled with real joy in her heart. Ade and Zara worked together to expand the foundation. Ade used his business skills to help raise money for the foundation. Together they opened offices in 5 different countries. They trained hundreds of lawyers to help women. They created a website where women could learn about romantic fraud and how to protect themselves. Years went by. Zara had children who were smart and brave like her. She continued to be a lawyer and a businesswoman and a mother. She continued to help women across Africa. The work was hard, but it was also very rewarding. People often asked Zara if she was sad about what had happened with Jamal. She always said no. She said that experience had taught her so much. It had made her stronger. It had shown her what she was capable of. It had led her to help thousands of other women. Something bad had turned into something good. And every night, when Zara came home from work, Ade was waiting for her. He hugged her and asked about her day. He helped her with the children. He made her laugh. He loved her for her intelligence and her strength and her kindness. This was real love. This was what Zara deserved all along. Zara had lost a wedding, but she had gained so much more. She had gained justice. She had gained purpose. She had gained respect and admiration across Africa. And finally, she had gained real love from a man who truly valued her. Her story became a lesson for women everywhere that intelligence and strength and courage could turn pain into power and betrayal into purpose.